It's a good question about what's going to happen at this global summit, because a lot of people have that question on their minds, and there'll be a lot of news about it. It's a conference that's coming up right now because of the calamity that we're facing in our financial markets. I mean, they just didn't decide on that, although there have been people around who have liked to have devised a new monetary system because they knew the old system wasn't working. But what we're witnessing now today is the breakdown of a system that was established in 1971. Of course, the Bretton Woods, which was started in 1944, lasted until August 15th of 1971, and that was a major event when that broke down. So we've had this dollar reserve system that's lasted an unbelievably long time, from 1971 up until now. But the financial crisis has put a nail in the coffin. That is over. The only question is what is going to replace it? And now they're getting together. It's called the G20 Summit. Many, many nations will be coming together to try to devise this new monetary system. Some people call it Bretton Woods 2. Others have called the system we have today as Bretton Woods 2, but that's irrelevant. But the big question is what are they going to come up with? One thing I can tell you, they're not going to come up with an international gold standard, because you don't need international government for a gold standard. But what is coming up, though, is I think the internationalization of a central bank. They would like to come up with one central bank for the world to replace the dollar standard, and also have international regulation, you know, a massive expansion of the WTO regulations into the financial markets. And there's a lot of people who desire this, but that won't solve the problem either, because it's just more of the same. And today, though, the problem we face is that the dollar standard is coming to an end. There's not a good reason for us to join this new system. It's an attack on the system because we've had a free ride with the dollar standard. And since that's coming to a close, we're going to lose the privilege of creating massive amounts of money out of thin air and spending them overseas and getting away with it. But we all knew that the balance of payment deficit would come to an end. It's come to an end. They're not taking our money like they used to. The reserves are not being built up in the central banks of the world. The Chinese have not been buying our dollars like they used to, but they hold so many, so it's not in their interest to dump the dollar. But they're sick and tired of the dollar standard, is what happened. The Chinese and even the British now are getting together with the Europeans and saying, what we need is a new reserve currency, and it has to be made up by the Chinese and the Europeans. So in a way, we're under attack. But they can't be too direct about that, because it would literally crash the dollar. So they're in a precarious situation where they're trying to keep the dollar up, and yet the dollar system doesn't work. And here they're going to get together and try to come up with the new system. This weekend, or even within the next week or so, they're not going to have a new system devised. It took them 2 years of planning to come up with that Bretton Woods system. Although it came into effect in 1944, for 2 years before that, they made their plans. And this is a difficult problem. And I think all that's going to happen as they make these plans is the world economy is going to get much, much worse. And of course, I have been saying, and I will continue to say, that everything that we have done has been to make the problems worse, because we have more debt, more spending, more inflation. It's pretty amazing the dollar has held up as well as it has so far, but eventually that will have to collapse, and that is where the danger is. Political danger, economic danger, and very, very harmful, because it could bring on runaway inflation of the German type of inflation of the 20s. And there's a lot of people very worried about it, and they should be. But the answers could be found rather simply, and that is we in this country should lead the way. We should say balanced budgets are good, less spending is good, sound money is good, the Constitution is good, central banking is bad, and international single central bank is a horror. So the answers are out there, but I think we should watch carefully and get hints of what's coming out of this summit, but they will not come up with an easy answer. There's no reason why we shouldn't start thinking about free market competing currencies. Let some money come out, out of the marketplace. They're capable of doing this. I mean, if somebody comes up with allotting credits and guarantee that they are backed by sound money or sound metals, there could be private money established. It could be easier today than it was in the past because of the computer system. So this is an opportunity for us to talk about sound money and get rid of the inflation, because the system that we've had has failed and they can't patch it up. So we have the choice of going toward this international paper money system with more controls of international government, more regulation, or more freedom and sound money. Of course, I vote for the latter.